Hello and welcome back to the Only Fabs channel. Behind me today we have a brand new Hyundai bucket for a 50-ton machine. It's 2 meters wide and it's 3 cubic meters of volume. So it's quite a big volume of bucket as well as 2 meters wide. Anyway, the issue we have today is on the back of this bucket where the hitch goes on. It fouls on this hump in the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the hump out the middle and weld a flat plate in so that it will go on off the hitch somewhat easier than it does now, because at the moment it doesn't fit. So we're going to make it fit. Fucking wind. So since I've got this bit cut out, as you can see, the hangers are actually in one piece and go all the way down to this bottom plate. So I'm unsure now whether I piece like a U shaping down, across and back up, or whether I gouge this bit off and just put one plate across. Yeah, what to do, eh? So after a small discussion with the powers that be, what we're going to do is we're going to gouge this bit off. And you can see we're going to gouge this weld off back to the hanger, and we're going to gouge this bottom bit out back to this plate as well, and then we're just going to weld one plate in from here. Let's zoom out a bit. One plate in from here all the way up to that top bit there in one piece, a lump of inch plate, because that's inch, and then that'll get us back to the bucket strength and give us enough clearance for the hitch. Obviously the reason these buckets are made like they are is they're what's known as a direct mount bucket. So when it's onto the arm of the machine at the front pin and just the link rod at the back, obviously there's nothing in the middle. But when you then change from a normal direct mount bucket onto a quick hitch, that's when you have your issue, because your quick hitch can't physically get out from under this pin without fouling on this piece here, hence why we're having to chop it out. As you can see, look, we've turned it on its side and I've cleaned this side up ready, and now I'm going to flip it over onto the other side and clean that side up. So we've got the bit out the middle and cleaned up, and I've measured it up, and now I want a bit of plate, 480mm by 510mm. So I'm going to cut it out with a straight line burner, put a prep on it, and then we'll get it welded in. Right, so I'm going to set the quickie up. As you can see, setting this thing up is the most time consuming part of using it, but to get a good quality cut, my hands aren't anywhere near as steady as this thing, so it's just easier to use this machine, and then you know it's straight and it's right basically. what I tend to do with a quickie is it has a shut off valve, so I don't actually alter the flame from one use to another. I just knock it off on the shut off valves and you don't have to set it every time. So if anybody's got a quickie, just a little tip. So just lifting the pipes up here just in case. Last thing you want is a plate to fall on the pipes and cut the pipes. Speaking from experience, it's not ideal. So there we have it, bit of plates cut. And that bit of plate is actually 25mm, where the original bit of plate that I cut out was only 20, so it will be fractionally stronger than it was, or should be. We'll knock my stand over them with the pipes. So yeah. So for all we've took the bit of hump out, we've put a bit of steel in, or a thicker bit of steel should I say, to allow for keeping the strength. So put this gear away, get rid of the excess of the plate I want, clean that up, and then we'll have a welded in. we've got the plate well tacked in off camera, lifted in off camera with a magnet. It's a little bit hairy, so that's why I didn't film it. Anyway, I'm going to bead a weld along the bottom, I'm going to bead a weld along the top, and I'm going to fill the top bit in, and then I'm going to sit the bucket so that this bit of plate's flat, and then I'll weld round the U shape of it, making it as strong as it can be, and then it'll be done, buying a bit of paint, ready to fit the machine. So this has brought us to the end of the day and home time. So following morning we're back to it. We opted for the air fed this morning because quite a lot of welding quite close, so protect them lungs a little bit for a change. I'm a bugger for not wearing my air fed, and now I've spruced it up with a Milwaukee battery and the speed glass hood. I should wear it more really, but I don't because I'm just that used to not wearing it really. So I decided that it wasn't worth being stood on a pallet on the forklift times to weld it up, so I just turned it over on its side and welded it the conventional way. Sat on my little stool at the right height, was much comfier for welding than perched on a pallet, creaking away, because pallets aren't meant for standing on as such. But anyway, there we have it. So we ran out of wire at this point, so time for a fresh roll in. It's amazing how many rolls of wire you actually go through. We often find ourselves on one, possibly two a day when we're on mega heavy gear. Obviously some jobs when you're doing a bit more burning and tinkering and such like, you don't use quite as much, but certainly find that when you're doing a lot of heavy welding you can often burn through 1.5, sometimes 2 rolls a day, depending on how hard you're going at it like. So there we have it, look, she's all welded up, both sides, front and back. So now it just needs a number putting onto that side for the customer's ID, and a lick of paint, and it's ready to go. These little cranes that we have absolutely make life so much easier. For all they don't lift a massive amount, just that extra hand as it would be, just to be able to lift a pin or move something just fractionally backwards, forwards, up, down, whatever. You know, it just, yeah, revolutionised the job and made it so much easier. So as you can see, I'm having a bit of a fight on here getting this pin back in. All I can imagine is as we've welded it, the bushes have moved very, very fractionally with the heat. So it isn't enough to worry about, but it certainly was enough to make the job a little bit harder than it should have been. Now the little toe jack that you can see that I've got in on the left, what an absolute asset they are. Like, for the money they were, they are brilliant. We have a few of them. Unfortunately we got them from an auction, so I can't point in the right direction of one. But if you come across one, like the amount of little jobs that you can use it for, with it being a toe, just tweaking little bits, I find them especially handy for straightening the bars in riddle buckets. But yeah, they are fantastic. So yeah, I advise anybody that's doing anything engineering wise on a little toe jack, because yeah, blown away with just how handy they are, and for next to nothing in money really.
That's step 2 for you. What am I going?
It's been a pain. I've just had to have the toe jack to jack this end out, and then bring the bars in where the dumbbell bit is on the inside, get it in the hole. As you can imagine, it's quite tight now.
Yeah. No, what will it do?
I think it will go. It is moving. It's,
Right. Swing away, swing away.
what more or less?
More. Literally stick more. And I mean literally it's probably half of it from my finger. more. One more. One more. One more. Tippity tap.
If you've got this far, give us a like and a subscribe. And then, you never know, you might see us again.